Hey, what up, fam? It's Joe Mill here, back with Killer Miller Q, part 2. We working on that fat side of brisket, still in Ohio, different grill, another pellet grill. Let's get right to it. Round 2, cut the music. We got another brisket out here. This time we're going prime, straight from Costco. A little bit bigger. What, 14? Actually, it's about the same. A little bit bigger, but about a pound bigger. 14.5 pounds. We're going to break this thing down. I enjoyed the fat side up just the other day. We got another one we need to make, so we're going to actually get it set up the exact same way. So let's start with the trim. Let's get it cleaned up, and we'll go from there. Okay, fresh out the package, you can get a quick peek at this thing. We'll get rid of some of this additional connective tissue and everything, some of that silver skin, obviously that deco, and kind of bring down some of this additional fat and expose us a clean layer there, along with rounding it off. And then we want to take that back end of that fat down to about 1/4 of an inch. I'm going to get started on that, and I'll show you in the end. 14.5 pound brisket, all the way down to, if I had to guess, maybe about an 11 pound brisket. There's my fat that I'm gonna be making a little bit of tallow out of. Already took my meat trimmings and threw them to the side. And we're gonna go ahead and season this up with just some basic Montreal steak seasoning. I'll start on the meat side, and then we're gonna flip right over to the fat side. Knock that one out, and we'll be out at the pit and get everything rolling. One side down. Don't be afraid to use that rub. The garlic is smelling great. Let's flip it over to the fat side, and then we'll let it sit out for a little bit. Hey, fat side is down. Let's go to the pit. All right, we out here. Another Midwestern cold night. Over here with my father-in-law, working off the old Traeger. We're gonna get this baby up to about 250. Temperature's just dropping a little bit, but it's, it's fluctuating, so it says 237. I'm great with that. We're gonna be getting this baby on real quick. It has been sitting out for about an hour. I will throw the point side more towards where the heating element is on the pellet grill, and other than that, I'll let you take a peek just so you can see where it's at positioned in here. But it's gonna sit back, and it won't be a whole lot for us to do until a little bit later. Okay, night little baby. I'll see you back here. We'll check in 3 hours or so, make sure my pellets is running smooth, but it should go smooth and easy. It's cold out here. I've been out a few times. We only looking at about 5 hours in, so I know we're not ready, but just so you know what's going on. Good looking marbling, everything's looking pretty even. Starting to see some of that redness getting in there. Starting to develop this bark a little bit. We got a ways left to go. I'm gonna bring you back. I'm just checking my pellets. Hey team, I want to jump in here real quick and let you know, thanks for following along on today's cook. If you're new to the channel, go to the bottom right corner and make sure you subscribe. Check out any other videos you've missed. And then other than that, make sure you find me on all my social sites on Facebook, IG, and TikTok. Ooh, top of the morning to you, peoples. It has been about 9 hours we've been smoking right along. We've been in here all throughout the night to get this site that you're looking at right here. Not looking too bad. I can definitely tell that we got this bark action formating pretty nice, so that's a good thing. Just out of curiosity, just kind of getting an idea, gauging where I'm at. Ooh. Let's check some more spots. And some of these spots it's almost feeling decent. Baby's almost ready to rock. We're getting this off of here soon. There we go. Gave it that full rotation just to kind of get a peek at it. And like I said, I'm not too far off from these temps. I've had this door open for a little bit. I feel like this one's ended up at around 198-ish, almost 200. So I'm not too far away, and everywhere else, it's pretty much following along. I'm gonna give this probably another good half hour, and we'll get this thing up out of here. 9.5 hours in, and I know we're about where we want to be. Yes, one thing I can quickly tell is it's not so much my temps. You can just look at how I'm pushing this baby in. It ain't fighting me, right? Got a little wiggle to it. Everybody looking nice and happy. Yo, let's get this baby off. Now we got this baby in the house. It's ready to go. Smelling good. We're going to keep this real simple. I took my fat, rendered out that, and got me some tallow that I kind of threw in a bottle here. We're going to be basically rehydrating this brisket, and we're going to let it sit and rest. I got some aluminum foil, a couple pieces of heavy duty right next to it. We're just going to get a little bit of that tallow here at the bottom for it to lay on, and then we'll moisten the top, and we're going to wrap it up nice and tight, sit it back on this tray, and it's just going to sit back in the oven. There we go. A little drizzle all over. So this can be nice and happy. My bark is established, so we're not worried too much on that. We're just going to leave this a little something to hydrate back into. And you know you want to keep this thing at least 2 hours on the rest. I prefer more or less 4 or something like that. And more or less we're trying to bring this temperature down nice and slow. So the oven won't be on. It'll be able to keep some of its temp already inside. And then from there, later on when it's time to warm this thing up just a little bit later and eat, we'll be able to jump right into it. And there's my little care package. Straight to the oven, let this thing sit and rest. If you got a low enough setting, you can throw it on 150 and just let it chill. But this is one of the most important parts of the whole process here. We're gonna let this get nice and tender, nice and juicy. I'll bring you back when it's time to cut it up, or warm it up. Fresh out the oven, this baby is jiggling, and we looking juicy. Let's get this on the cutting board, and we'll get a chance to find out what we got. Oh, you're safe. This one, wow, it's literally just oozing. Okay, we got the first cuts in. This is probably the most juiciest brisket I've seen in quite a while. As you can just see, it is lathering itself here. We got to get a whole lot more trimmed up for the family, but so far, so strong. Murder show here. It's a mess all over this cutting board and almost on this floor. Super juicy as far as this brisket. We're gonna get this passed out, but I'm pretty happy with what we're looking at. Alright, 10.5-hour cook, good 4+ hours of rest time. We got that baby done. And let me tell you something. Sometimes it is worth it to spend that money and get yourself a prime brisket. At the end of the day, that brisket right there was probably the juiciest brisket I have ever cooked myself. Literally from the first cut, it just was oozing out. And it wasn't necessarily dripping out, like it didn't lose all its moisture, but it was just like radiating out of it. You know, it definitely had a good marble when we started to cook, but shouts out to my father-in-law. He definitely found us a good brisket. That one was fun to cook. I did get a little bit of the hard spots, just a tad towards the flat end. It really wasn't that big a deal because it just ended up kind of being more barkier and people love those pieces. But overall, that brisket right there was tenderoni. It's always nice watching that whole thing fly up off the cutting board, make a whole brisket, and literally watch the family eat it all in one setting. Now, we had a lot of people to eat on that brisket, but with that said, it did not last long. It was fire. Last day on the road, last day being cold. It's about time for me to get myself back to AZ. But I tell you, both of these brisket cooks was cool. I enjoyed doing them both. The fat side up was a winner on both, I have to say. Both of them did seem to come out a little bit more juicier potentially. And I did like the way that my fat came out. Not so much my meat. The fat itself, though, tasted better than normal, probably because I was able to leave that seasoning on top of it, where normally it probably just gets all, rendered away for the most part, and it's sitting more or less in saturated juice. Instead, my meat got to sit in that saturated juice, and the fat side got to get some of that love. So I enjoy doing fat side up. I'm looking forward to actually going back home when I get to my Lone Star. I want to try it on an offset now and see how that works, especially since you won't have to worry about that direct fire and heat directly up under it. And I got a lot more space to kind of move it around and maybe even put it on that upper rack. So
One way or another, we got that cook done. I did do some interesting things on my rest for the first time, not that I've never done it similar before. Pretty much once I got it done, I put it in the oven on 150, let it rest in there on 250 or for 2 hours before it actually cut off, and then I just let it sit in the oven for another couple hours. When we got ready to go, we took it on over to the house we was gonna be eating food at, and I threw it in the oven on 200. It sat in there for about an hour before we actually was ready, and that thing was ready to go. It was juicy, it was warm, and it was perfect. So at the end of the day, another one down. Shouts out to my family first off, to my little baby having her 5th birthday. Everybody that looked out for us while we was here on our stay, everybody that been checking out these videos, we always appreciate y'all. And the boys over there at Black Smoke Barbecue, you know what it is. I'll catch y'all real soon. Until then, peace.